Well, hello everyone out there. This is David.Rosen, and I'm joined by Yeohlee today, who is a New York City-based fashion designer in our series on what New Yorkers are doing during the pandemic. And Yeohlee, before we dive into what's going on with you right now, take us back 2 months or so ago. What was your life as a fashion designer here in New York City like?
Well, we just came off Fashion Week. Everything was on a high note. And T Magazine had just done a photo shoot at the Morgan Library on the new guard. And it was on all the movers and shakers from the Asian community that are working in New York. So it was a really terrific moment. And I look at the photograph and I think, well, that was then. This is now.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yes.
I hope that as many people in your life are healthy right now, and those who are, if anyone's sick, that they get well. I know we've all been affected. How, that first week when things started to shut down, how did it affect your business?
Well, we were going very strong since the beginning of the year. But I have to interject and tell you on a personal level, right before we were quarantined, I was up in Millbrook the weekend of March 22nd. And on the 23rd, as I was driving back to the city, I was hit by a car. So I was in a car crash and it totaled my car. I was in a convertible 89 Mustang. And if you think that the coronavirus was a mind bender, so was the crash.
Oh my Lord, where did it happen? Where were you?
I was in Millbrook and I came off the Taconic and I went
Yeah.
on the Sawmill and somebody clipped me.
The Taconic, for those of you out there who don't know, I went to college at Bard College for a couple of years, and I would take the Taconic, and I've gone up to Dutchess County hundreds of times. And it's a cool road to go on because you're on the other side of the river and you avoid the interstate, but it's got those metal guards between the two lanes, and it's a pretty narrow road. It's scary, to be honest.
It's scary and it's actually very windy.
Yeah.
But the happened on the Sawmill.
Yeah. I'm so
So
sorry. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. I mean,
All right.
I think that when I went to the salvage yard to look at the car, the guys looked at me and said, "Who was driving?" And when I said I was, they did a triple take. So,
Well,
David, I have to say I was very fortunate,
oh,
but it was mind bending and as scary as what we're in the midst of right now.
mm, mm. Wow. What are some takeaways as we deal with the impermanence of life that you think, I mean, it's kind of hard to put into words, but what thoughts come to mind, as we are in this moment?
You know, that's a very deep question. And
It
I think that
is.
we have to treat it in a lighthearted way. You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, right? And you do hope for the best. But under these circumstances, many questions arise about what is life about. Because you spend a lot of time on your own and you have to contemplate the meaning of life, core philosophy, and then I come from the world of fashion. So those two realms have really collided because fashion
How so? Elaborate on
is
that.
a land of make believe because you can tell stories, you can create looks, you can create personas, you can be who you are or you can be who you're not. There
So,
are many layers to fashion, and it's what makes it so fascinating.
so for people who don't necessarily yet know you, I know that you are a haute couture fashion designer. Would that be an accurate description?
Well, I think that I don't know. I think it's really hard. I can only talk about my work, not
Okay.
really how it's perceived. But I come from the core of what I do has to do with design and humanity. And a lot of my ethos has to do with zero waste and being frugal with one's resources and being sensitive to the environment. That has been the company's ethos from when it was founded, which was in 1981. And to this day, is what my company practices. And right when the virus hit, we were very busy with consuming our own inventory. So my view of the fashion world right now is that the world does have a lot of clothing. It's really not properly distributed. Some people have more than they need, and some people don't have what they need. So my thinking was there is really a glut of clothing out there. And what are we going to do about it? Now, if you want to be sustainable, buying sustainable fabric that costs a fortune to make and creates a lot of waste is not the solution. However, consuming your own waste could be interesting.
Now, when we say consuming your own waste, I just want to be clear. We're talking about fabric.
Well, fabric is the beginning, but there's other things in fashion and in the construction of clothing that you have to factor in, like trim, zippers, buttons, thread, and the list goes on and on. I mean, I don't make decorative clothes, I make functional clothes. But if you do decorative clothes, then you have buttons and bows and all the elements that go into decorating the garment.
What, I mean, maybe this is a question that is hard to answer, but as we go into what comes out of this as a creative person, that idea of decorative, of ornate, is certainly going to seem on some level like a vital part of life. What with all this mundane quarantining, people do want celebration. And yet there is something ostentatious that will be distasteful about people who are seen as flashy. How do you think that might affect, the fashion world?
I don't have an answer yet. I would say that I'm a keen observer right now of human behavior. We're also learning to value people, and we are learning to value human contact. So it's a very interesting moment in time where I think that people have become more sensitive to their surroundings and to who's next to them in good ways and bad.
Yeohlee, what do you think the future should hold for designers and creatives in New York that you'd like to see happen as a result of this?
I would like to see everybody find a good way forward that is positive and that works for them. Not all the answers are going to be the same.
I think now more than ever, a collaborative, sustainable, and open mindset is certainly going to be highly regarded, whereas the opposite is going to be eschewed more than ever. Yeohlee, thank you so much. The work you do is gorgeous. Thank you for taking time to talk to us today, and I hope that we get to chat in person at your next show sometime soon.